Over time, Amazon has made lots of changes to the way that authors choose their book categories. Maybe they're improving things and maybe it looks better and surely it's got to be easier to use, right? Well, actually, not necessarily. There's actually a lot more going on that authors need to understand and some key things you need to know when it comes to the Amazon category system. In this video, we're going to show you how authors should be choosing their categories nowadays and 3 key secrets that every author should know. So by the end of this, you'll be able to rock your category selections instead of hurting your books. Hey everyone, I'm Zach Diamante with Kindlepreneur. Let's get into it. So back in the day, Amazon had a confusing system by which authors could choose their categories. First, they would go into their KDP dashboard and choose from a list of BISAC categories. Super easy since there were only 4,800 categories to choose from, and Amazon actually has over 1,000 on their store. Really narrowed it down for authors. From there, Amazon would take from your BISAC selection and put you into an Amazon category. Then, those that knew of this could use a special form to contact Amazon and request a change of categories, and even additional categories. Anyone remember that craziness? However, Amazon has removed this capability and gone to a different method. Instead, now you can just go into your KDP dashboard and go into a drop-down menu where you can select from 3 of the categories that they offer there. Sounds pretty simple, right? Well, maybe not. There are actually some major issues with this method and things you need to know. One thing you need to know is that over 54% of these categories are actually duplicates of each other. For example, these categories, while listed as separate categories on KDP, are actually the same. So if an author selects this one, they will go here. Another thing to note is that over 27% of categories listed on KDP are what are called ghost categories. These are categories in which your listed book can't even get a bestseller tag. The actual category page, and not the browser node that you find in KDP, looks like this for a normal category. However, a ghost category page looks like this. Notice that in the ghost category, it doesn't even have a name. The ghost category doesn't have a category path on the left either. Furthermore, you can't find the ghost category in the normal category path. That's because it isn't even a real category. What's worse is because of this, a shopper on Amazon can't even find this category page. They would just have to know the random link. So ghost categories not only won't let you get a bestseller tag in that category, but readers won't even be able to find your book in those categories either. And again, 27% of categories are like this. Another major issue with this system is that Amazon can decide not to show you for the 3 that you selected, and holds the right to put you in whatever their system thinks is appropriate without your input. However, they also can put you in more categories. How do we know this? Well, first we have data from Publisher Rocket that shows this. Plus, there have been lots of reports of authors who are frustrated over this very thing. But also, more importantly, we see this from Amazon themselves in their category FAQs. They say, "We reserve the right to change the categories of a book at any time to ensure a positive customer experience. The categories you add and the categories shown online may not always match. Your book may be added to additional or different categories to improve the customer experience." So how is Amazon choosing which categories you should stay in and which ones you should be removed from? And also, how does Amazon choose whether you should be added to more? Well, our research and testing has shown that one of the major indicators Amazon's system is using to figure this out is the keywords you choose as a part of your book. Amazon looks at them, and if you aren't using keywords they would expect a book in that category to use, as well as other metadata, their algorithm will just remove your book from that category. But also, if you have other keywords in there, it might sway them to add categories as they've been known to do. So now, not only do you have to pick the right categories out the gate, but you also have to choose the right keywords to bolster your claim for those categories. On the surface, this system appears to be relatively easy to follow. However, is misleading, complex, and fraught with possible issues. And that's why I'm about to go into the most important part of this video and show you the best way to choose your categories for your book on Amazon now. Let's break down the steps. You need to identify right categories, be aware of duplicates, Avoid ghost categories if possible, and then perform the right actions to ensure Amazon keeps you in your selected categories and possibly adds your book to some bonus categories automatically. So let's look at step 1. When selecting categories for your book, you should still choose categories that absolutely fit your book, as well as give you the best chance for having better rankings and thus showing your book more often on the site. This will be especially important when we get to step 4. For those that have Publisher Rocket, this should be really easy. Publisher Rocket has every category in the system. It also has ways to help you navigate and find ones you might not have thought about. Plus, Rocket will show you how many sales you need to make in order to be number 1, or at least in the top 10 in that category. That's a pretty cool feature. For those who don't have Publisher Rocket, you can go through the different categories on Amazon.com, searching and finding possibilities, and then start plugging in the Amazon bestseller rank of the top books for those categories into the free Amazon book sales calculator we have on Kindlepreneur.com. I've also got that linked in the description below for you. Step 2. From your list, you should check for duplicates. Now, you may think that I'd recommend you stay away from duplicates, but actually, hold on. Sometimes duplicates can be a good thing. One thing about duplicates is that when you select a duplicate, Amazon won't allow you to select another duplicate of that category. Furthermore, if you're in a duplicate placement, if your book's sales do really good, then you will show up in the subcategories in all the duplicate strings. So, knowing which ones are duplicates and the possible category strings you can be a part of is a good strategy. Now, the only manual way you can figure out whether something is a duplicate is by clicking on a category placement in KDP. And there you'll see if other categories are grayed out. But this can be problematic because many times duplicates are in different subcategories and even broad categories. However, Publisher Rocket makes this incredibly easy. As you can see, Publisher Rocket will mark if that category is a duplicate, and by hovering over it, you can see where the other duplicates are listed. The best option is when you find a duplicate that not only the other duplicates fit your book, but they are in other subcategories in even broad categories. Then your book gets way more coverage. Step 3. Next, try not to select ghost categories. These don't really benefit you and basically have you compete only in the subcategory above it. More importantly, you should absolutely not select multiple ghost categories inside of one placement. For example, all 3 of these placement categories are ghosts, and so if you selected all 3, you'd basically be wasting your 3 choices and just be putting it into paranormal and urban, the subcategory above it. And that's not great. Step 4. Now that you have a list of possible categories and have verified they aren't duplicates or ghosts, you can select them in KDP. Remember, you can only pick 3. Step 5. Next, it is time to convince Amazon that you belong to those categories as well as others you have identified. In KDP, when you go to your 7 Kindle keyword boxes, you should use 1 to 2 of those boxes to put in category-specific keywords, and in so doing, strengthening your claim. You can also use keywords for other categories you didn't select, and this will help increase your chances of being added to more categories. For those that have Publisher Rocket, this process has never been easier. Rocket for the past couple of months has been working to figure out what those keywords are that are attached to categories and list them right here. Now you can go to that category, choose from the list of keywords, and add them just like that. It makes life a lot easier. So, as you can see, there's a lot more to the Amazon category system than authors think. And while it might seem a lot simpler than the old way, there are still some pitfalls to watch out for. Knowing about the categories in KDP versus on Amazon, understanding that there are duplicate categories, and knowing the connection of keywords can really help save you a lot of heartache. I hope this video helps you a ton. If you're always looking for up-to-date videos on the publishing world, feel free to subscribe and join us for future videos. Until then, ever onward.